Okay, welcome back, everyone. As we are ready to learn our second daf on this Motzei Shabbos marathon, remember, Rabbi Isai, that Motzei Yom Kippur, when I gave Shir in Borough Park all those years ago, I was very proud. We used to have literally hundreds of people come Motzei Yom Kippur to learn. It's such a wonderful thing to go after a full day of fasting right away, to start right away and learning again and showing Hashem that we're very serious about our commitments. So I want to remind you that we will have Be'ezus Hashem with Gesund, a daf on Motzei Yom Kippur, again at 9:30. We hope everybody will join us. And then, of course, to follow up on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 o'clock. There will be a special shir on Wednesday night on Sukkah. That will be the Wednesday night shir, will be Sukkah's Gems. And we do not have a sponsor yet for that shir. Somebody out there in the wild blue yonder of Torah Anytime, Kolaloshin, if you would like to sponsor the Sukkah share, 718-916-3100, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Let me see, are we all systems go here? Yes, we are. Bottom line of Daf Mem Amid Beis, learning to be Mekayim the mitzvah of a Dibarta Bum, saying to Hashem that this is what we want to be doing for the coming year. Hashem should give us the das, the clearness of mind, not having any worried distractions, so that we should be able to learn with Gesund. Dorish Bar Kapor, Bar Kapora expounded. Ragzon, a person that's an angry person. He didn't work on his temperament. Loi also biyodai el ragzanusa. His anger only benefits to weaken his body. This is an interesting byproduct of anger that people usually don't think about. Look at Rashi over here on the top. There's a weakening of his flesh with his anger. Anger weakens the body. It's interesting. Ramila would tell us that kas is the same letters as a rare known word, eches. If you rearrange chaf ayin samach, it spells eches. Eches is poison. Now that's not a popular word, but it talks about the venom of a snake, and it says in Navi tiakasna. The root of that is eches. It means poison. You talk to any doctor, and they'll tell you people that don't watch their temperament, they don't watch their anger, they get high blood pressure, diabetes. It's not good for the health of a person. When Shimon ben Yomer, Kol Yomai Gedalti ben Achachamim v'loy matzasi leguf tov mishtika, I didn't find anything better than quiet. One of the things he was referring to is not getting angry. Remember, we'll need all the treatments of Gehenna. To a good man, they give him to taste in this world from the fruits of his deeds. Whoever doesn't have chumash, mishnayis, or ethical behavior, you should vow benefit from him. He's not a good person to hang around. In the assemblage of the scoffers, you shouldn't sit. Sitting with him is a moishav leitzim. He has no value, he has no benefit. That's a wonderful thing to say Erev Yom Kippur, that we hope to come back yet at least 3 more times to this wonderful parak. May it be the will of Hashem. And then, look at Mark, he's saying 3? 3 is for wimps. I see that in Mark. The 3 is for wimps. Say 30, Rabbi Weiss. You know? Okay. Bruce says he's maskum. He's in for it. Right? Bruce wasn't mataneder, so he's in for it now. He's going to be with us every night till 2050. Now, new perik. Ho'ish mekadesh boy ubishluchai. A man could mekadesh a woman by himself, or he could send Shelley as his agent. Ho'isha miskadesh is ba. She could accept Kiddushin by herself, ubishlucha, and she could send Aaron as her agent. Ho'ish mekadesh is bitoy kishinara. A man could accept Kiddushin on behalf of his 12-year-old girl by himself, or b'shlucha. He could also send Dr. Block as his agent. So the Gemara asks right away, if he could send an agent, then of course he could do it himself. What's the chiddush? Hashta b'shlucha mekadesh boy me boy. If he could send an agent, of course he could do it himself. So why does it say boy or b'shlucha? Rav Yosef, since it's a mitzvah, it's better to do the mitzvah yourself. Mitzvah ba Yosef and b'shluchai. It's a mitzvah to do it better yourself than a shliach. Rav Safra, when it came to preparing for Shabbos, he didn't leave everything up to his wife. He wanted to get a shear in doing it himself. Makrish Reisha. He would singe the hair off the head of the animal so that it shouldn't have any hair on it. Rava Malach Shivuta. Rava would salt the big fish, the sturgeon. Says the Gemara, Ikadamre, Baha Isura Nami Ispa. To do it with a shliach, not only is it not preferable, it's also forbidden. Because then afterwards you might not like what you see, and you're already married, and then you're not going to treat her well, because she's going to not be pleasing. It's forbidden for a person to be mekadesh a woman until he sees her. He has to have at least a b'sho. Lest when he meets her after they were mekadesh, he'll see something that's not pleasing, and she'll be displeasing to him, and he won't treat her right. You have to love your friend like yourself. That's talking about when you when the woman sends a shliach. She could be miskadeshes herself or with an agent. So the Gemara asks, if she could send someone else, what's the chiddush that she could do it herself? Rav Yosef telling us mitzvah ba Yosef b'shlucha. It's a mitzvah for her more than our shliach. Ki had Rav Safra achrich reisha, like Rav Safra would singe the hair off the animal. Rava malach shivuta. Now, why aren't we worried that if she sends somebody, then she won't like him? Aval baha isur lespa. For her, there's no isur, because whatever she sees, she's going to appreciate more than being alone. Kidrei shlakish. The amarei shlakish tav l'meisiv tandu. It's better to live two bodies m'lemeisiv armalei. To a woman, the companionship is more, and we don't have to worry. She'll be happy that she's not alone. It shows that a woman is easier to please in this area than the man. It's a big chiddush. This might have changed over time because of environmental pressures. Now, this idea, by the way, of mitzvah ba yaisim b'shluchai is why people would leave yeshiva to go to the matzah baker. And you'll say, why are they going to the matzah baker? Talmud Torah keneged kulam. And baking matzahs is not a mitzvah she'ena yochalas zayidei acherev. You have the matzah bakery, the professionals. What are they going for? You ever wonder about that? The whole yeshiva packs out and goes to the matzah bakery. Why? It's because of mitzvah ba yaisim b'shluchai. Ish mekadesh is bita kishinara. Now this is interesting. Why not when she's a katana? Why only when she's a nara? Kishinara in kishikatana loy. Oh, you know why? Again, because it's really better to get the girl's approval. And in order for her to give approval, she has to have das. And until she's 12, she doesn't have sufficient mature das. Messiah l'rav, dam Rabbi Yudam Rav, Yisem Rabbi Lazar, also l'adam she kadishes bita kishitana when she's a minor at shetigdal until she gets to be about das at 12. B'taimer b'pleini, and he writes, and she says, yes, I'm happy with him. Now the Gemara says, and this is a Shas Gemara, it's a famous Gemara quoted all over Shas, and Taisvis all over Shas, and that is, where do we know Shlucha Shaladam Kemaisa? Where do we know that you could send an agent? You have to do me, myself, and I. How do you know you can send an agent? So the Gemara now is going to discuss this for the remainder of the daf. Remember, Rabbi say right after we finish the daf, we'll do the Mishnah Yomis. I will do Be'ezus Hashem a Mishnah Yomis and put it online for tomorrow. We also remind you that we are looking for a sponsor for the Sukkot Shir this week. If you would want to sponsor the Sukkot Shir, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. So says the Gemara, at the two dots, what a wonderful way to spend an Erev Yom Kippur Matzah Shabbos. What a wonderful way. I also want to remind all my Talmidim, don't forget, if you didn't do yet Tashlich, make sure to do Tashlich. Make sure to do Kaparas, of course, with a live chicken, and with the mitzvah of Kisei Adam, that's preferable, but a live chicken is, of course, preferable. If not, do it with money. And don't forget, if you didn't do Ataras Nadarim, for whatever reason, make sure to do Ataras Nadarim. And make sure to eat. It's interesting. The Yetzer Hara always gets us to eat. Now he's going to get us to diet. Yetzer Hara is something. Shlichas minalat. How do we know Shliach Shaladim K'maisei, that you could send an agent? The Tanya, it says by get. Now it says V'shilcha mibeisei. Now it should have just said V'girsha. Why does it say V'shilach? V'shilach, and he sends it, Malamed Shu Oisa Shliach. Now it could have said V'shilach, but it says V'shilcha. V'shilcha, Malamed Shehi Oisa Shliach. That she could also make a Shliach. V'shilach, V'shilcha, it says it a second time, Malamed Shliach Oisa Shliach. That the Shliach could appoint another Shliach. So the Gemara says, okay, that's by divorce. How do we know by Kiddushin? Ashkan B'gerishim B'Kiddushin Minalan. So you'll say we learn it out one from another. What we call Begerishin, like what we call a binyan av. Ma'ala Gerishin, maybe it's different by Gerishin. Shekain Yeshna Balkarcha. It's against her will. So maybe since it's against her will, we extend it to even an agent. Hamakras, the Gemara says, no, we have a hekesh. It says Yatzav Haisa. Yitzia is divorce, Haisa is Kiddushin. Makish Havayali Yitzia, we compare Kiddushin to Gerishin. Ma Yitzia Mashrei Shliach, just like by Gerishin, you could appoint a Shliach. Afavayanami, by Kiddushin also Mashrei Shliach. Says Gemara, how do we know Shliach is good? By Truma. If I tell Berish, say Troin, take off Truma for my crops. Toirim Kidas Balabais. Now Truma could be a 50th, could be a 60th, it could be a 40th. So he should take Truma according to what I usually give. He should take according to my standard. If I'm generous, I give a 40th. If I'm stingy, I give a 60th. He doesn't know what my general custom is. then Tayrim Bebeinanis. He should give the medium truma, which is Echad Mechamishim, 150th. I once told you that in a spectacular example of etymology, truma stands for Trei Meya, 2 out of 100. 2 out of 100 is a 50th. That's what truma stands for. Trei Meya. So Berish should give a 50th. Let's say he doesn't know what my standard. Let's say he doesn't do that. Piches asara. If he gives a 10th less, oy hoisif asara, or he gives a 10th more. So if he gives, let's say, a 60th, or he gives a 40th, trumasa truma. It's good. If he does less than that, then it doesn't count. But minalan, how do we know that Berish could be my shliach? The chitei the yolef megerishin, we should learn out from gerishin. No, ma'ala gerishin sheken yeshnon chol. That's something that's just not sacred. Truma is sacred. Amakra, so it says by truma, gam atem. It could have said atem, and it says gam atem. L'rabba, he says hashliach. So then the Gemara says, okay, so if it says it by truma, why do we have to say it by gerushin? And let's learn gerushin and Kiddushin out from truma. No. Truma can be mentally done. You could assign on one side a 50th, and then you could eat the rest. So it could be done mentally. Says Gemara, V'haditnan, now we're going to go to the Korban Pesach. V'haditnan, wow, we're really getting a really good cross-section of Shas here tonight. This is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful. But it's not even a long time. You know, since we started, it's only an hour and 9 minutes. See what you could do in a useful hour and 9 minutes? Unbelievable. What a person could do in a well-spent hour and 9 minutes. Look at Shelley. Shelley says, I could spend my whole day like this. Says the Gemara, look at this, Bruce is standing right next to his son, even though his son is in Florida and he's in Staten Island. It's amazing. Bruce, you got to come more often. Yeah, you got to come more often. There's no excuse. Says the Gemara, V'hadisnan chabura she'ovad pischa. We had this. We learned it not so long ago in Mishnah Yomis. You have Saba and Irving and Mark. They have a group of a Korban Pesach, and they lost the Korban Pesach. Mark, he was busy. I don't know. He was busy arranging that I should come down and speak, and he lost the Korban Pesach, right? Because he's working so hard on it, so he lost the Korban Pesach. So Chabura she'avad pischa, they lost the Korban Pesach. So Saba tells Mark, get another Korban. V'amrul echad, and Saba tells Mark, say, go out, ubekesh, and find another animal, ushloich aleinu, and shecht it for us. V'halach, umatza b'shachik. Mark is very reliable. He goes and he shechts a Korban Pesach. But Saba was impatient. He was worried, maybe Mark will, get stuck on a piece of bubble gum, Mark, he has, So v'hein lakhu v'shachtu. So Saba went ahead and also shechted the Korban Pesach. Saba doesn't like to, he likes to be there 10 minutes early, So then, im shaloi nishchat rishon, if Mark's was shechted first, so since they made him a shliach, so then Hu oichel mishalai. Mark eats from his. V'heim oichlin v'shoisim imai, and they eat with him because they delegated. And then the carbon that Saba shechted later is puzzled because they already delegated Mark to do it for all of them. So how do you know that you can make a shliach by the carbon pesach? Minalan. V'chi tema di yolaf mehanach, that we learned it out from Truma and Gittin and Kiddushin. No. Ma'alahanach shekein yeshnon chol eitzel kachim. Even Truma is secular compared to Kachim. Says the Gemara, Nafkalei mid Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. They learn it out from Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Dam Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, menayin sheshluchan shaladim k'maisai. How do you know that a shliach is like the person himself, even by Kachim? Oh, you know how you know. Shenema v'shachtu ha'isai kol kal adas Yisrael meino aboyim. The whole assemblage of Yisrael shechs the carbon pesach bein ha'aboyim. So the Gemara says that's not true. There were groups. Aaron belongs to a group with Bruce and Shelley. They don't all shech the carbon pesach. Says the Gemara, v'chi kol hakol kulon sheichten v'aloyin is sheichet alech. There's one sheichet for the group. So what do you mean they all shech? Ela mikan sheshlucha shalodin k'maisai. Oh, so once we teach it by Kachim, then say it by Kachim and don't have it by Truma and Kiddushin and Gittin. Says in Nichter Rachmana b'Kachim, v'neisi hanach v'nigmer minei. Says no. Mishum de'ikal amifrach malak Kachin shekeim roiv ma'isayim al yidei shliach. By Kachin, the majority of its activities are by a shliach. Because who does the mice of the Kachim? The Kahanim. So they're all shluchim. So therefore, maybe that's why shliach works by Kachim. So the Gemara says, okay, chada mechada lo yasi. We can't learn one out of one. But why does it have to say by Truma, by Kachim, and by Gittin? Why do we need to say Teisi chada mitarte? Let it say it by only two places, and we'll learn out the other one from the two. So the Gemara says, well, hey Teisi, which one do you want it not to write by? Let it not say by Kachim and Teisi Mahanach and learn it out from the others. You can't do that. Because Malahanach Sheken Yesh and Chol Eitzel Kachim. They're secular compared to Kachim. Let the Torah not write it by Get, V'Teisi Mahanach and learn it out from Kachim and Truma. No. Because Malahanach Sheken Yesh and Machshava. You could assign it even with thought. Don't write it by Truma, v'teisei mehanach, and learn it out from Kachim and Gittin. What are you going to say? Malak Kachim, that it's Yeshin b'machshava, get teichiach. Malak get shekem bal karcha, Kachim teichiach. Says Hakanami, you're right. It doesn't have to say it by Truma. I said, and what do you do with gam atem? Ve'ela atem gam atem lamali. That's coming to tell you something else. That's coming to tell you that a guy can't separate truma for you. Mi boyle the kud Rab Yanai. The Amr Rab Yanai gam atem ma atem b'nei bris. Just like you are a yid, af shluchachem b'nei bris. Your agent has to be a yid. Says the Gemara, halamali kra. Why do I need a pasuk for that? Mit Rab Chia bar Abba am Rab Yochanan nafka. Dam Rab Chia bar Abba am Rab Yochanan eino eved nasa shliach lekabel get miyad bayla shalisha. A eved cannot accept a get on behalf of his mistress from the husband. Why? Because an eved kanani is not in the din of Teres Gittin v'Kiddushin. Lefisha einay b'Teres Gittin v'Kiddushin. So therefore, of course, a guy can't be mafresh truma because he's not b'Teres truma. Says Gemara Yitzrich. So k'dayta chamina eved. Of course, an eved kanani can't be an agent for a get. The la barateru klal. He doesn't have a din of get at all because there's no yichus to an eved. He doesn't have a din of gittin and kiddushin. But a guy does have a shaykhis to truma. If a guy has property in Eretz Yisrael and he separates the truma, it's good. Since he could have truma himself, that not oivid kachavim vakusi, and oivid kachavim akusi shetar with trumas and truma. Ema shliach nami of it, I might think it could be a shliach. Kamash malan, therefore it tells us that a guy cannot. Atem gam atem, ma'atem b'nei bris, gam atem, the shliach also has to be a b'nei bris. We'll stop over here, Rabbi Yisai, and now we're going to learn the Mishnah Yomis. Again, I want to remind you, first of all, since we are one really big, important family, I want to ask everybody that we should have each other in mind. And just when you're saying one time, when you say Chasaim l'chaim tovim, Avinu Malkeinu, Chosmeinu v'sefer chaim tovim, have in mind also my Zoom family. Have it in mind. It makes a difference. It makes a difference for all of us. Now, I want to ask mechila from everybody. Maybe I embarrassed you sometime. Not on purpose. Of course, you know, I do it to keep the olam alive. Maybe I said that somebody shouldn't ask a question because I don't want to lose people's thoughts, people's track. But I love everybody. I hope you're meichel me. We're going to learn now the Mishnah Yomis.